Hello, fellow fantasy sports fans. I'm your host, Dr. Dan Ratner on MFSN The Hub's Waiver Wire for baseball. As usual, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. I'm here with Casey Scheinbold, Vlad to the Bone, and Ross the Boss.
Hey everybody, I'm Ross the Boss, and I want to talk baseball waiver wire with you, cowboy. But before we start talking about waiver wire and MFS, and I know I can't
He
say it
can't even
today.
say it.
MFSN decided to take away my rant because they said, Ross, we don't want to do your rant anymore. And I said, okay, fine, I'll just do it when I want to do it. How about that, MFSN?
Yep,
So
you
I
can
want
do
to
it.
talk about the All. I want to talk about the All-Star game. I watched the first few innings. I loved watching Otani. 1, 2, 3. Got the players out. He looked great. After he left the game, I kind of felt like, kind of boring. You know what I mean? But I did like Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Flat to the bone. 22 years old, youngest ever MVP. Hit a moonshot, unbelievable. And you know why he's playing so well, Casey Scheinfold?
Skill.
No, it's not skill. During the
Talent.
offseason, he lost 30 pounds, came to camp in shape, looked unbelievable, and it's really paying off. You know what that means? Hard work does pay off, Casey Scheinfeld.
I'll have to try that.
Even for the big time all-stars. Now let's get to where the talent usually lies. Catcher. Okay, no, I'm kidding. But 60% and under on Yahoo. Guys, who do you have? I'm going to start with you, Ross the Boss, because I don't want you to get all mad.
Okay. I'll go with I'm going with the Cincinnati Red. Tyler Stevenson to me, I mean, since June, Casey Scheinfeld, he's hitting 322. That's really, really good for a catcher, right, Case? So in the past 5 weeks, he's been hitting unbelievable. I know you're going to say, "Oh, well, they have Tucker Barnhart. How's he going to split time?" They find ways to give him at bats. He'll start at least half the games. Tucker's a great defensive catcher, but he doesn't have the pop like Tyler Stevenson. So for me, I think they'll figure ways to put him in the lineup. They'll put him in the outfield. They'll have him pitch hit. They'll have him play. But Tyler Stevens, for me, is a great pickup, especially for the second half of the season.
Love it. All right, Casey, how about you?
Yeah, look, I think that's a great pickup. And you're right, Ross. We're going to find mostly platoon-style players at catcher off the waiver wire. The everyday players who are performing even admirably are already owned. So I think any catcher we talk about, it's a thin position. So Tyler Stevenson's a great pickup. Obviously the last week there hasn't been a lot of production because of the All-Star break, but I think John Hicks in Texas plays catcher and first base for them. He has 7 hits since he's been called up, and 4 of them have left the yard. So he's certainly somebody you can take a flyer on and hope he can provide some power for you from that catcher position when he's playing.
All right, I'm going to go in a direction that maybe you guys didn't see coming at all. Eric Hasse of Detroit.
Oh, yeah, we talked about him before, but tell us about him.
Oh, all right. Well, listen, he's got outfield eligibility too, so that means he's going to be in the lineup more often. And listen, don't be scared off by the fact that he has a 236 average over the last 30 days. I mean, first of all, for a catcher, that's good, and that's even league average. It's just not that bad. He's got 10 runs, 5 homers, 14 RBIs. He's even got a steal. He's 56% owned, so he might be gone soon from this show. But now's your chance. You got 2.5 months left to win this thing. And Eric Hasse is not going to win your league, but he could help. Who else are we missing?
Not Ron Hasse, the Oakland great, but we're talking about Eric Hasse, and you're 100% right. He's hitting 282 in the past 2 weeks and has 5 home runs. He's a good pickup. That's a great, great idea, Dr. Dan Ratner. Another guy that I love that plays almost every day. No power. Not really that many RBIs, but you need average. Yan Gomes is your guy. The past 2 weeks, his hitting 333. Casey's saying, well, Ross, he has 0 home runs. I don't care about home runs, Casey. It's my fault. I care about batting average.
That's why he keeps telling us to pick up Fletch.
Right.
No,
right.
Fletch is at 74%, genius, and the guy's hitting like 390 the past 2 weeks. So don't make fun of Fletch. You can't even pick him up right now.
Yeah, but that's my point. No one should be picking up a guy with 0 homers. We'll get to that soon.
No, he has 3 home runs. He's been hitting the ball over the fence ever since we made fun of him. So keep talking.
All right, I'm just trying to get him to play better. Okay, I'm going to give one more name. Joey Bart was sent down to the minors. Don't believe what you're seeing. He was sent there for at-bats over the All-Star break. If somebody was silly enough to cut him, scoop this guy up. He's got a lot of talent. Casey, who do we miss?
I didn't have anybody that you didn't name, so I think we got the majority of them. It's a thin position, so you do the best with what you can.
All right, well, I will say James McCann is sitting at 60%, so if you need to grab somebody, grab him too. Let's go to first base. Casey, we will start with you.
First
Keep that in
base,
under.
I have Andrew Vaughn, the young slugger for the White Sox. He's finally kind of, I think, figured it out in the last few weeks. He was a big shot prospect coming into the season. They expected great things from him. He struggled out of the gate. A lot of people gave up on him. He's at 31% owned. In the last 2 weeks, he's batting over 300, 375 to be exact, 4 home runs, 9 RBIs, 9 runs scored. He's not going to give you speed, but first base and outfield eligibility, he's young. He's been hitting his whole career, so I think he might have figured it out, and he can help you the rest of the year.
Ross, who you got?
I like Andrew Vaughn too. He's been killing the ball past 2 weeks, 375, 4 home runs. I like Garrett Cooper. Garrett Cooper, since he's been back from his injury, listen to this stat case: 19 for 41 since he came back, 4 home runs also. This is like in a 2-week period. He's been just destroying the ball, and you know what? He's almost hitting 500 since he's been back for the injury. This is a guy that you should pick up now. I think in Florida, there's really like nothing else to cheer for anymore in Florida. I think Garrett Cooper's the only guy that you can really cheer for. And maybe Jazz Chisholm too, but I like Garrett Cooper. Pick him up.
And just to be clear, he's saying nothing to cheer for in baseball. It's not like there's nothing to cheer for in all of Florida. You did this to Detroit once, so I've just got to defend you.
No, the Florida I like. Tampa Bay just won the Stanley Cup. What are you talking about? Keep going.
I don't know. I just giving you a hard time. Okay, listen, I'm going to go with, there's plenty of people I could go with, but I'm not going to go with people who have multiple position eligibility because I want to save them for later.
Fair. It's fine. Whatever you want to do.
Joey Votto, we've been talking about him.
My second pick. Tell me
still,
why.
He's raking. I mean, 13 runs scored.
Banging, we call it. He's banging.
He's banging. He's batting 297 with good production, and I trust him. CJ Cron is another guy that I like, but I like Votto more.
Votto at home, listen to me. Votto at home is a great start. So if you have Joey Votto, I could see benching him on road games, but at home games, you got to start this guy. He's unbelievable.
And Ross, you talked about Garrett Cooper. Well, his battery mate at first base in Miami is somebody who's worth owning, and he's still less than 60% miraculously, and that's Jesus Aguilar. Jesus Aguilar was at various points like one of the leaders in the league in RBIs, and he just knows how to hit. Back in Milwaukee a few years ago, he was an all-star. I think he's starting to figure it out again, and he's another player who is worth picking up if he's available in your league.
Especially if you need RBIs. And meanwhile, we'll mention Josh Bell and Alec Bohm. These are two guys that I think are good.
Hey, Alec Bohm's on COVID-19, and he's having a horrible year. I forget about that guy. You know, the other guy that I like.
We have to. I mean, Alec Bohm is having a great last 30 days. He's on COVID. He'll be back.
Yeah, and you can trade him for Nelson Cruz.
I had a dream about Alex Kurloff. I think is going to have a great second half. 23 years old, all this potential. I feel that he's more comfortable now. They send him down, they send him up, blah, blah, blah. But I think he's going to have a great second half. Alex Kurloff, to me, if you want to take a chance, put him on your bench. See what happens in the next couple of weeks.
Okay. All right. Let's move to second base. Ross, I will start with you.
You know, my number one pickup in second base right now. He plays for the Boston Red Sox. Enrique Hernandez. He sounds like a salsa dancer. Enrique Hernandez.
Yes.
Enrique Hernandez. The past 13 games, he's hitting 336, 5 home runs. I mean, he's been just destroying the ball. He's eligible like 3 different positions too. So you know, it's a good pickup if you need some guy that has some versatility. But Enrique Hernandez has been just mashing the ball in Boston, and Boston has a great offense. I think they're number 1 in the American League right now. So Enrique Hernandez is my guy to pick up at second base.
All right, Casey, what about you?
I'm going to go to Milwaukee and Luis Urias for the Milwaukee Brewers. He's been hitting ball great. The past couple of weeks, he's got multi-position eligibility at all 3, at every place on the infield but first base. His average isn't great in the last 2 weeks, only 245, but he's got 4 home runs and 2 steals to go along with double-digit runs scored and 7 RBIs. So he's contributing a little bit everywhere. He can help you in speed. I'm a big sucker for players who can provide you a little bit of help there, because the truth is, while the batting average is low, as you mentioned before, a low batting average doesn't hurt you as badly as it did in years past. So he's helping you where it counts.
Not only that, but he's batting 248. That's above league average. I mean, it's sad to say, but that's not hurting you.
You're right.
My number 1 guy is still Jonathan India. I'm still banging the drum for him. He's had 19 runs scored in the last 30 days. He's batting 319. He's stolen
Rookie of the
bases.
year.
He could easily be Rookie of the Year. He seems to be the leading candidate as far as I can tell. And I'm going to cheat. And you can't stop me. Can't stop me.
No. Please
It's got to be
stop.
mentioned because Jorge Polanco is 62% owned. But he's 99th in Yahoo over the last 30 days.
Good
He's
one.
got 16 runs scored, 3 homers, 13 RBIs, 4 steals, and a 266 average. You should be scooping him up everywhere.
Scoop.
Scoop. Scoop. There it is. Okay. We are going.
No, one more. I just want to say
okay.
his name just because he's in the past 2 weeks, he's hitting 500 and he plays every day. It's not like he's batted twice and he has one hit. Yeah. Nah. It's Sterling Castro of the Nationals. I mean, this guy is just destroying the ball with the average. I know Casey's saying, well, Ross, there's no power there. He's scoring runs. He's scoring runs. He's getting on base. And if you need help in your batting average, which a lot of teams do, pick up Castro now. He's been unbelievable. I mean, what a great 2 weeks. Unbelievable. Congratulations.
And Lurie Garcia is another one who's got multi-position eligibility, but second base is where he can provide you the most value. He's batting .364 with 11 RBIs in the last couple of weeks. That White Sox lineup has the potential to put up runs in bunches. They're going to be getting Eloy Jimenez back, so there's going to be more potential for him to get knocked in. He plays all over the place, which guarantees him some real playing time and can help you in a pinch with different injuries and stuff.
I mean, I'm also going to mention Kike Hernandez in that Boston lineup with his position eligibility. That's a good pickup, and I think second base is the place to play him.
Not Enrique Hernandez, Kike Hernandez.
Enrique Hernandez. Okay, Casey, we're going to go to you for third base.
For third base. Well, I had Starlin Castro at third base, so I'll move on from him.
Well, I had Garcia at third base, so keep going.
Oh, my God.
And Urias. Honestly, we've named the third baseman I have because they all have multi-position eligibility. So I don't have anybody standing out. I mentioned Alec Boehm. I don't want Ross to yell at me, so I won't say
I'm not yelling. He's a fine pickup. He's just better third baseman.
How about if I jump in then?
Go ahead.
Ty France. We've been banging the drum for Ty France. This is our last chance because he's second base and third base and first base. This is the last chance to pick him up in this waiver wire. But listen, he's only 42% owned. He's batting .299 in the last month, 13 runs, 5 homers, 16 RBIs. This guy is a very valuable piece to your team. He can fill in for some injuries. I'm not saying he's going to win your league, but he could help you not lose. Ross, who you got?
I said his name last week. He's coming back next week. The Mets already announced it. It's J.D. Davis. I have a feeling he's going to have a good second half. I don't know why I feel that. I just feel he's going to come to the Mets and just start killing the ball. So J.D. Davis for me is the pickup you should do right now. Jonathan India is a third baseman too. We already said him. Garcia also. So the only guy left is J.D. Davis.
I have one more, but Casey, you have anybody to add?
No, you go for it.
You listen to what he said. He said he doesn't have anybody, and you bring it up again.
I know. I want to put him on the hot seat.
He likes to embarrass me in front of our.
I know. Unbelievable.
All right, listen. Wilmer Flores is not a guy that I would recommend as a hot pickup, but he is ranked 69th in the entire Yahoo rankings over the last month. He's gonna fade back some.
He's a streaker. He's a streaker, and he plays different positions. You're right on that.
First, second, and third. Okay, We're going to do shortstop. Ross, I'm going to go to you, and if you have nobody, I'm coming back to you twice.
Oh, you're funny. I don't think I brought his name up, but I just have a feeling he's going to have a great second half. Is J.P. Crawford of Seattle. I'm going to mention players because it's we're halfway through the season, 70 games left, and I just feel J.P. Crawford could have a great second half. I don't know why. He's first round draft pick. He came out of L.A. with the high school out here. But I just feel that he's going to come back and hit the ball. We'll see what happens. And Willie Adames, we mentioned him a million times. He's still under 60%.
He's at 60% now.
Okay, fine. He's at 60%. It's the past 2 weeks case, 336 with 3 home runs the past 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah. He's been amazing since
we've been banging the drum on him. And, we've been saying his name almost every week. And I guarantee we all know this. He's not going to be eligible next week. So Willie, congratulations. Today is probably the last day we'll ever bring you up on our show.
It's your graduation. Congratulations, sir.
Congratulations. Anybody, whose turn?
Case?
I will say one, and it's somebody we've all mentioned at various points this year on this waiver wire show, and that's Bobby Witt Jr. I think he's got 13 home runs and 13 steals this season.
Case, when's he coming? Case, I mean, it's like Tunner Green. When is this guy going to play in the major leagues?
I don't know, but I'm still going to take a chance and put him on my bench if I can, because when he comes up, he's one of those dynamic players who can change the direction of your team if he brings up that power and speed. He proved in the spring training that he can hit major league pitching. He kind of seems to have that it factor. Adalberto Mondesi hasn't exactly shown durability this season, as much as that pains me to say, because I'm a big fan, but I just think you got to get Bobby Witt Jr. now on your roster because he'll be up ideally in the next 3 to 4 weeks.
Yep, and listen, in dynasty leagues he's long gone, but in keeper leagues you might still be able to scoop him up, and in redraft leagues I think he's still worth owning. Absolutely. I'm gonna go with Miles Straw. I'm not a huge fan of Miles Straw, but he steals bases, and this is the time of the year when you might need to know which of these categories do I need to make a jump in, and it's not easy to find certain things like that. So with steals, you got Miles Straw. He's got shortstop and outfield eligibility. He plays on a great team. They're going to run a lot. He's a guy that I would pick up on the back end. One other guy to mention, I actually have to check on the latest injury status. What's going on with Brendan Rodgers, guys? Do you know?
He's day to day. He'll be ready for the second half.
Okay. I think he's getting that All-Star break rest. Don't be fooled by it.
He'll be ready. I mean, he plays in Colorado.
I think he's a really good guy to scoop up. He hasn't been getting a ton of at bats, but that's going to be happening more and more. And he was a world-class talent. Still is. Hasn't changed. Okay, guys, we're going to go to our middle of the show. We always have a theme, and it's that time. It's that time where players in the major leagues are going to be changing rosters, and it's going to change their valuation. This is especially true with closers. I have Richard Rodriguez on my team in one of our leagues, and I am going to deal him ideally to Ross or Casey because they won't see it coming.
Well, you just told us, you idiot.
God, I always mess that up. So, guys, who are some of the people that you see that are going to be on the move that are either going to increase in value or decrease? Ross.
The number one relief pitcher that you'll be seeing dealt probably in the next few days is Craig Kimbrel of the Chicago Cubs. He's not going to be a Cub much longer. He's going to be a closer for one of the contending teams. I'm not quite sure who. I'm hoping Cincinnati, but I doubt the Cubs will trade us a player in the same division. But he could be going to the Yankees. He could be going to maybe even Boston, maybe the American League. But I think he's like the number one guy I think we'll see traded because I think the Cubs are sellers. I think they announced that already because of their losing streak. They had 11 or 12 games, case or something like that. Very embarrassing losing streak. So they're not going to be buying any players. They'll be dumping their team. I think a few other players on the roster you'll see dumped very quickly. We'll see who it is. I think you'll see a few big names on the roster going to different teams. So there you go.
Let's make some predictions about where Kimbrel's going to go. I'm going to go out on a limb. I just feel this. I think he's going to the Oakland A's. The A's are going to deal for some.
But isn't Lou Trevino doing well?
It doesn't matter. The A's, they do weird things. They're going to do things.
I love it. I think you can never have more. Your bullpen can always get help. I mean, everybody's bullpen is not.
Oh,
good.
Sure. No, I know. But I don't know if Kimbrel has a no-trade clause.
The thing about Kimbrel is this, though. How much money? I mean, I think he makes a lot of money. The A's don't spend money unless the Cubs pick up the contract. That might happen. But the whole thing with the A's is they're very thrift.
They are.
They don't like to spend much money unless it's.
I just like to throw out a hot take sometimes there.
Yeah, but I like it.
I could see him going to Boston and Matt Barnes' value just tanking. Because, I mean, it would be a reuniting in Boston. I know Kimbrel didn't have the greatest experience there as last time, but I mean, they're overachieving to such an extent this year that, or I shouldn't say they're overachieving. We undervalued the Red Sox, I think, roster so much at the beginning of the season that they know they can go for it and win it all this year. And a lockdown closer like Kimbrel's turned himself back into is a very important piece to their roster.
Another team I could see dealing for him is the San Francisco Giants. I don't know. They keep winning. All right, let's talk about some other players that are going to come into value here. And part of what I want to look at, and we don't have to just look exclusively at closers, but those are the ones that change the value the most.
I have a few, but go ahead.
All right. Well, one is the backup closer on the Marlins. His name is Bender.
Bender, you have him on your team.
I know him very well. But there's a guy on Seattle who is sitting in the exact same position, and he's actually pitching even better.
What's his name again? It means with an S, right?
Paul Sewald.
Sewald, that's it. Sewald.
You want this guy on your team right now.
Yep, I'm going to pick him up right now before Case does. Hold on.
Listen, in the last 30 days, he has 22 strikeouts and 12 innings pitched. Ross knows I love that. 0.47 whip. He doesn't know that I actually like that even more. What about hitters? Are there some hitters that are on the move?
The one I think is going to be gone from the Marlins it's sad because they really have no one left after they get rid of is Marte. I know the White Sox are making a big run on him to pick him up, but the Marlins want like half their team. But I think Marte is going to be gone. His contract's over with anyway. You'll see him on a different team. Probably, I would say the White Sox if I had to pick one.
The thing about Marte though is his value is not going to change here. You know, he's going to be who he is, and he's going to be great wherever he is. So the good news, if you have Marte, which Ross does, is he doesn't need to worry about that. But
yeah, but he'll be around. He'll be around some great hitters. The Marlins have no great.
Sure, he could go up in value, but he's not going to go down.
Oh no, I don't think. I'm trying to think of who would be traded that would go down in value. I think two likely trade targets. One was an all-star last night, and the other shined in the home run derby. I could see the Orioles trading either Cedric Mullins or Trey Mancini. I know Mancini is this great story, and we're all rooting for him. And I think they should just rename the Comeback Player of the Year award after him already. But Baltimore is not going anywhere. Cedric Mullins is playing out of his mind. His value will never be higher, and they're in a full rebuild. And they have Mountcastle and Hayes and Rutschman to build around as hitters. And I just think those are two players that they could get a lot of value back that would speed up their rebuilding.
Do you guys agree? Go ahead, Ross.
I want to just go off topic real quick because we talked about this earlier. The Los Angeles Angels drafted 20 pitchers in 20 rounds in the past few days in the Major League Baseball draft. Never had been done. I mean, every pick they did during the draft were all pitchers. Granted, they're number 26 at ERA, and they haven't been over 500 in 4 or 5 years. So, I mean, I know why they're doing that, but I mean, just to pick that many pitchers up in a draft is remarkable to me. I don't know.
I think it's really smart. I mean, think about this. This is a team that has Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani on the team.
And Jared Walsh.
They do not need a lot of hit.
And
Anthony Rendon.
The most overplayed player in the league, yeah.
But they're loaded. They're loaded.
Yeah, I just want to bring that up because, guys, I don't. I mean, if they have any scouts that look at hitters, the guy was probably on vacation. I mean, why even show up to work?
Ross, don't be bashful. We know you talked to somebody at the Angels, and here was the quote. This is the quote that Ross got.
Listen to this.
He asked the Angels, "Why did you do that?" And they said, "We need a lot of pitching." That was it.
And that explained it all. You know, somebody else, we talked about Craig Kimbrell from the Cubs, not to get back onto the trade market, but what about Chris Bryant? I mean, this is a guy who's a free agent at the end of the year. I think it changes scenery. He started off the season really well. I think a change of scenery could be great for him.
Where do you think he'll go, Case? Let's give the scenarios. Wow. It won't be Boston, right?
No, it won't be Boston. I think, well, if they stayed in division, could you imagine him playing third base for Milwaukee? That would be pretty impressive.
I don't think they would do that.
I don't think so either. I think San Francisco might make a play for them with Longoria being hurt for the year and being old and long in the tooth anyway. I think he'd be a neat fit there.
You know where he can go is he doesn't have to change his address. He can go to the White Sox.
Oh, that's true.
If they've given up on Yohan Moncada, certainly. Although with Bryant playing all over the field,
you play outfield.
You're gonna have to give up on Moncada. But you have Eloy Jimenez coming back. I think the White Sox see that as kind of like the best trade they can make is just getting him back. So
yeah, I think you're right. I think Chris Bryant could be in a different team. I wouldn't be surprised if
I think the Nationals are an interesting spot. I know we've talked about Starlin Castro being great, but Chris Bryant's certainly an upgrade, and you put him with Schwarber and Soto and Trey Turner, and that offense is suddenly 10 times more dynamic. And with Acuna Jr. going down, the Braves aren't going to be in the market to upgrade. He could go to the Mets. The Mets have shown a tendency to go big, but J.D. Davis is coming back to play third base. So there's a lot of options. Dominic Smith isn't a natural left fielder, so getting Brian into the outfield helps their defense too.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to finish up on I just want to make one last mention because really in fantasy sports, and hopefully you guys agree with me on this, I'm wearing a Save Fair shirt because it has saves on it. It's really all about the closers changing value. Richard Rodriguez, he's probably going to get dealt to some place where he doesn't close. You got who's the closer in San Francisco? Why do I keep forgetting? Myers.
No, they have two guys. They have Rogers.
Rogers is pitched last night, right?
But their main guy is
what's his
name? Now you got me. Look it up real quick.
McGee.
Jake McGee, ex-Dodger. Jake McGee is so up and down the whole season. He was benched, not being the closer, and came back, and now he's pitching okay. But they have Rogers who's been solid the whole year. I don't know.
I think Richard Rodriguez is going to end up in San Francisco. I'm just making that
San Francisco.
Call.
I say he goes to the Dodgers.
All right.
I'm going to go with the dark horse and say the Houston Astros.
Ooh, that's a good one.
But he's likely to lose his value anyway, and I'm sad about that. Okay, let's go to outfield. Casey, we're going to start with you. 60% and under.
I think the number one pickup this week, there's two, and they're both outfielders to me. In the major leagues, it's A.J. Pollock. He's been absolutely tearing the cover off the ball lately. 6 home runs, 364 average the last 2 weeks. But the guy I'd run and get right now is Jarren Duran of the Boston Red Sox. They just announced today that they're calling him up to start with for the Yankees series starting tomorrow. This year, he's got 15 home runs and 12 stolen bases in the minors. He's got a 270 average with a 365 on base percentage. So he's dynamic. He can do it all. The Red Sox, I mean, with the JD Martinez and Xander Bogaerts and Rafael Devers, and that lineup is crazy. And you push a guy in there who can get on base, steal some bases, and still hit it out of the yard. And he's got that kind of Mookie Betts appeal when Mookie first came up with the Red Sox.
All right, Ross.
I too had Duran and Pollock. They're both really good pickups. Max Kempler for the Twins is starting to hit. I mean, in the past 2 weeks, he's hitting over 300. He's hitting home runs. I think he'll have a good second half for some reason. He had a great season a couple seasons ago before COVID, but I feel Max Kempler could be a great pickup for you now. He's available in most leagues. But again, what Casey said with Duran, I think he's the future in Boston. And I think if he's available in your league, pick him up.
Okay, I'm going to say two names that are going to make me feel like I have to take a shower afterwards. Adam Duvall and Hunter Renfroe. These are players that I wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole normally. But they're hitting very well, and they're hitting pretty well for average. Actually, Duvall is hitting 338 in the last month. That's got to be some good BABIP, I'm sure. But the fact is, with the league average lower, a guy like Duvall can be extremely valuable.
You're absolutely right.
100%. I think Duvall could be traded.
Duvall proved he's a power hitter, a real one, when he was in Cincinnati a few years ago. I mean, he proved his power.
In Atlanta, too. Remember him in Atlanta? He was killing the ball in Atlanta.
That brings up a good point, though. I don't want to see Duvall traded.
He's going to be traded. I mean, that's a great idea.
I'm sure he will be, but I actually don't want to see it.
Yeah,
because once he's in he's in the groove. I don't want him moved.
Right, and he'll get traded to a team that probably will use him against lefties or something. So it'll hurt his at bats,
and it'll start to throw off his rhythm. When something's going well, I do not like to see it change. I will just say that. Anybody we're missing in the outfield?
I have one more. I'm going to mention again. It's a name that's been around for years. Was a prospect many years ago and faded. Is Ben Gamel. He's playing really well in Pittsburgh right now, and nobody notices. I mean, Brian Reynolds and Adam Frazier were all-stars, and both for very good reason. They're both excellent players. I think Brian Reynolds this year is like a top 50 or 60 player in fantasy for the season. But Ben Gamel is batting over 300. He's hit 4 home runs in the last 7 or 8 games, scoring runs, hitting RBI, getting RBIs. He's somebody who people don't know. He's only 7% owned, and in the last 2 weeks, he's the 40th ranked player in Yahoo.
By the way, I just want to say now, Brian Reynolds is ranked 39th in Yahoo, and he seems to only be going up. Yeah. I mean,
he's an all-star, and he's a starting all-star. He batted 8th last night.
Yeah, and he's 85% owned, so that's not, we're not really talking about him on the waiver wire. We're just talking about his prowess.
And Ryan Reynolds is a great actor too.
He is. I loved him, especially in Deadpool, but even better than Green Lantern. Can you believe it?
Yeah, is that the same guy? Yeah,
that's the same guy. Yeah, Green Lantern is Deadpool. You just couldn't tell because of the mask. Okay, we're gonna go with starting pitching now. And Casey, I want you to get us started.
All right, I'm gonna name. Let's see. Logan Gilbert in Seattle has been pitching incredible in those last 8 or 9 starts. He just shut down the Yankees in his last start, but in the last 2 weeks, 12 innings, more than a strikeout per inning, less than a 1 whip, less than a 2 ERA. And that's just in the last 2 weeks. As I said, the last 8 starts, he's just been awesome. Everybody talked about Kelenic coming up as the rookie in Seattle who's going to make the biggest splash. But it's Logan Gilbert who said, kind of, wait, watch me instead. He, to me, is the biggest starting pitcher pickup for this waiver wire.
All right, I like it. Ross, who you got?
Well, Logan Gilbert, I like him a lot. I talked about him last week, but this week I want to mention the hottest starting pitcher in baseball right now, and you can pick him up right now if you want, is Willie Peralta. And you're saying, Ross, Willie Peralta, what the hell? Are you on drugs? I'm not any drugs. TC Scheinfeld. You know why I like him?
Peralta?
The reason I like Willie is this. He is actually 12 innings. That's the last 12 innings he's pitched, scoreless. 0 runs against him. The past 21 innings he pitched, 2-point-something ERA, whip. I know you're a whip guy, Dan. I know your secret. You love whip.
Yes, you're
it's
hearing
.86. Dr. Dan Ratner.
That's pretty good.
.86.
And he is size, though.
And so Willie Peralta, to me, is a streamer. So the next start, make sure you pick him up because he's in such a groove. He looks so good. So Willie Peralta to me is the number one pickup if you need a starting pitcher this week coming up.
And in case you're confused, a streamer is known as a streaker on this show.
There you go.
Okay, I'm going to go with Eduardo Rodriguez. He's 59% owned. He's not going to win you any leagues, but he is an innings burner. He's not going to hurt you. And I think he's going to start to pick up a lot of wins in that Boston lineup. I really like him for the second half. Who are we missing?
So I think somebody we're missing in St. Louis is Kwang Hyun Kim, who is 40% owned. He's actually over the last few weeks has even better numbers than
is he Korean?
Than Willie Peralta.
Yes, he is.
I just know he's not Irish.
Not Irish. That's true.
18 innings pitched, under a 0.5 ERA, a 0.94 WHIP. So he's doing it. He's not going to be your guy who's going to light up the radar gun and strike out 13 in 6 innings or 7 innings, but he is solid. He's not going to hurt you. St. Louis is hurting for pitching, so they're going to give him a pretty long leash to show it there. So that's somebody we're missing. And the other guy is, I think, Michael Kopech, because of last year's. I know Dan's been banging the drum on Kopech all year because he's got elite stuff and strikeout levels. I think he's going to start to get more spot starts throughout the second half of the season because they're going to try to limit the innings of some of their horses to get them into the playoffs. And I think Kopech can be one of those guys who provides enough innings with his ratios that he can really help you.
He also could be a guy who comes in there like in the 5th inning and just is in there in those games where they could sneak ahead and win.
The guy's versatile. He can do anything. He can close if he wanted to. He's so good when he's healthy. Unbelievable arm. Dan, somebody else I love. He plays for your Cleveland Indians. He's been sent down. He's been sent up. He's been sent down. So he started the year. He pitched 42 innings and walked 39 people. How bad is that?
That's bad.
But Tristan McKenzie actually has been working in the minors. They brought him up right before the break. He pitched 7 innings. We had 1 walk, Dr. Dan Ratner, only 1 walk, and got the win, and only gave up 1 run against, I know it's Kansas City. I'm not like saying it's a good team or anything. Pardon me if you're a Royals fan, but Tristan McKenzie, you know he was like one of your top prospects too. So I think he worked everything out in the minors. I think he's ready to roll in the second half. Let's see what happens.
All right. I also have to say Luis Severino is sitting out there at 44% owned. He just has big upside. Am I saying that he is going to be great? No, I'm not saying that. He could get injured immediately. He could get bombed, but he could be a dominant frontline starter, and he's 44% owned.
And he's a Yankee. I mean, as we know, Casey Scheinfeld loves the Yankees.
Yep. I will also say this is a surprising one. I would not recommend picking this guy up, but you could take a chance on. Patrick Corbin has been pitching well lately. Have you guys noticed?
Yeah, he's been striking people out too.
Exactly. And in the last month,
but Corbin Burnson, which one? Oh, Patrick Corbin. Okay, got it.
Yeah. Oh, I love Corbin Burnson.
Not to be confused with Corbin Burns.
So he's somebody I could see taking a chance on. Jamison Talon also has been
another Yankee. Casey, are you working for Casey Scheinfeld?
My goodness.
Yeah,
I hope you're right, Daniel.
Listen, I don't trust Talon as much, but I think I'd be.
He's been pitching a lot better since. You're 100% right. I feel the Yankees are going to pick it up during the second half. I think you're right.
I think so. Okay, guys.
But listen, I one more. I'm going to break your rule, Dr. Dan Ratner. What's the Dr. Dan Ratner rule?
There's many rules, and they can all be broken.
You don't pick up pitchers from the Colorado Rockies. Oh, you know what? You could take that rule and stuff it, Dr. Dan Ratner, because I'm picking up John Gray. His past 2 weeks, he has 2 wins. His ERA's under 3. He's been pitching unbelievable, and he has more strikeouts per innings of almost any pitcher in the past 2 weeks. He's been.
And I want to correct you. I would say the rule isn't don't pick up Colorado pitching. The rule is don't pitch them when they're pitching at home.
No. That's not what Dr. Dan Ratner said. Know your information before you speak. Dr. Ratner said,
Well, you know who can correct us? Or
Dr. Dan Ratner?
Dr. Dan Ratner.
Oh, is he here?
You're both right. Don't pitch Rockies players when they're at home. And also don't pick them up when they are away. I think, look, John Gray is a very talented guy, but the reason I don't like a guy like John Gray is when he's pitching well, he could completely flame out and blow out your ERA. And
I just want to point out that German Marquez has been very helpful to my team in the first half of this year.
That's true. He's been really good, hasn't he?
He has been good, and we're talking about relief pitchers now. I mean, every week we say Bard for the Daniel
Rockies.
Bard for the Rockies, and he's 2 saves every week. He has 2 saves, and he hasn't gave him a run in a long time. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. He's under 50%.
Okay, well, I also think you got to think about trading him because I think the Rockies are going to trade him, but it's not a bad call. Sometimes these guys don't get traded. and then you've got a cheap closer just out of nowhere. So let's turn to closers now. Ross, I'll let you go first. 60% and under.
So I mean, we mentioned before, and I think one of you guys have him as Ranger Suarez.
I have him in one of our leagues, yes.
Yeah, you have one of our leagues, and he plays for the Phillies. His ERA is like under 1. I mean, Joe Girardi, the manager, already said he's the closer right now. No one else can touch him. He actually, before the break, he did a five out save to close out the first half of the season, which is unbelievable, which means the manager is going to bring him in for like 2 inning saves, which is great. But Rangers, he's been on fire. I mean, you can't find a better closer right now than him in Major League Baseball. And he's available in most leagues.
He's kind of the poster child of what happens with closers. I mean, did you know him coming into the season?
Never heard of him.
Casey Scheinfeld had no idea who he was.
He had a Ranger Suarez poster on his wall 10 years ago.
I did.
It was really weird.
It was
I do like the name.
Like
Ranger's a great name. I'm going to name my next dog Ranger. That's a great name.
That is a great dog name. I like it.
Thank you. Don't steal it.
I won't. I might borrow it though.
Okay, so Ranger's my number 1 pickup if you need a closer.
I think that's a great pickup.
Go ahead.
My closer guys are more the guys that we're speculating on. I said this in the middle. You know, you got Bender on the Marlins. You got Sewald on the Mariners. The chance of those guys being dealt ahead of them is really high. There's also Bednar on the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Right.
You want the backup guys.
Casey, backup guys. Go ahead.
Well, I'm going to take the low-hanging fruit, and that's Heath Hembree from Cincinnati. I mean, he's got 5 saves in the last 2 weeks. He's the closer du jour, I guess you could say, in Cincinnati, as we've gone through Sims, we've gone through Garrett, we've gone through, any number. And Garrett's been pitching well lately, so maybe he gets the job back. Who knows? But right now, Heath Hembree has been nailing that job, and so it's his to lose. And if he's got the hot hand as a closer, you're looking for saves, I think you ride it. The other one is Joaquim Soria in Arizona. I think he hasn't pitched poorly all year. The problem is Arizona was losing like 85% of their games, so there just wasn't save chances. But then in the last couple of weeks, they've played better, and he's got a win and 3 saves and more than a strikeout per inning. So he's one of those crafty veterans who figures out kind of the Melanson style, who figures out how to get the guys out without blowing you away. And so those are a few guys you can look at too. And I don't know if he's the closer in waiting in Chicago, but Andrew Chafin is pitching really well there too. And who knows if he gets the job if Kimbrel is traded from the Cubs.
Kimbrel's going to be traded. You mentioned the Cincinnati Reds. I just want to give you some news about them. AJ Antone is coming back. He'll be activated probably tomorrow.
Isn't it TJ?
TJ, excuse me.
It's TJ. You can call him
TJ,
AJ if you want to.
I know I said AJ. But
that's all right. That's all right. We support you.
TJ Antone, Texas Christian University. He's coming back. He's the Reds' best pitcher. I don't know if he'll close, but another guy that's coming back who could be the closer is Michael Lorenzen. Michael Lorenzen is also a great hitter, great athlete. He has bigger arms than me. He's in unbelievable shape. But he'll be back probably next week also. Hopefully he'll be back this week and go against Milwaukee. But the Reds, it's so weird with whoever closes these games always like fails. I don't know what the problem is, but with the middle relief, they look great. So I'm just hesitant on picking up any red right now to close.
They have 5 closers at once.
I mean, I guess, but there's somebody that I would love them to pick up a closer from a different team. That'd be great.
Yeah, and I will say this is another crafty move. You're not always going to get it right, but it might be worth trying to pick up certain guys on the cheap who are going to come through the trade deadline. Okay, Kendall Graveman is actually one of those guys. If I picked up Seawald, I would actually trade for Graveman. Then you got it locked up. It's a good way to do it. Meanwhile, another guy that I would trade for, and I will probably eat these words very, very badly, but I'm going to say it anyway. I think Aroldis Chapman is going to be totally fine. And you have a chance to pick him up. I would go ahead and pick him up if it's, for cheap. You guys agree?
I think it's his job still. I mean, Chad Green was pitching great until his last outing, but I mean, Chapman now has had 5 or 6 days off. Hopefully he's figured it out. The problem with pitching this year is, how do we judge it? Are they pitching poorly, or is it because they can no longer use the sticky stuff to grip the ball and manage their command and control? And I'm not sure. It's a more questionable year, I think, than any I remember with regards to the reliability of pitchers.
I mean, let's also remember they're coming off a season where they only played 60 games, the entire league. People are a little bit rusty. There's all kinds of injuries.
I think the best pitcher in the Yankees bullpen is Jonathan Loáisiga, to be honest. But
that's who I like too.
And he's somebody you can pick up. But he's going to be. I mean, Britton's coming back, so he'd be 4th in line to get saves once Britton comes back. So he's a guy who pitches that 5th, 6th, 7th inning and can get you sneaky wins the way Kopech does. He's similar to Kopech in terms of his stuff and his opportunity.
I just wouldn't panic on Chapman. Even if they dealt for Kimbrel, I think Chapman would still end up closing half the time. It would be really weird to have 2 lefty closers.
But remember, Chapman's a free agent at the end of the season. He's making $8 million the second half of the season also. So I know the Yankees don't care about money. It's like money bags over there. But it gives them a little incentive to kind of deal Chapman, especially if the Yankees are not going to be in the playoffs. So that all being said, Chapman could be dealt before the trade deadline. You heard it from me first because I'm Ross the boss.
It's true. I just think he'll end up closing anyway.
That's fine. That's fine. You have your opinion. We'll have a little gentleman's bet on it and see if he's still a Yankee by the end of the trade deadline. Casey Scheinfeld has money on me. It's fine. I get it. Thank you, Case. We'll see what happens.
All right, guys. This was a great show as always. I want to thank everybody for watching. If you haven't already, click subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, hit like if you like what you're hearing, and put your comments below. And we'll get back to you personally. We love to argue fantasy sports with you or to agree with you if you say the right thing. Thanks for watching.
Oh, yeah. From Q Cliff, the #1 clean energy drink in the mind of Joe Rogan, comes the Flamin' Joe. Sugar-free, B vitamins, electrolytes, all them good drink things. An epic spicy pineapple fusion from out of this world, straight into your drink hole. Own it. Q Cliff.